just like a song. I'm brighter my day. Who'd have believed that you were part of the dream? Now it all seems like years away. You know I can't smile without you. I can't smile without you. I can't laugh, I can't sing. I'm finding it hard to do anything, and I feel sad when you're sad. I feel glad when you're glad. If you only knew what I'm going through, I just can't smile without you.
Morning, guys. This is Richard Spray from the Talking Reds podcast and Nottingham Forest podcast, all the way from the United States of America. Early morning at this moment, but I'm excited to share some thoughts on this forthcoming match with Spurs and just how Forest have been doing this season in general. So appreciate Harry, appreciate all the great things you're doing, buddy, and the opportunity we have to share on your channel. So in terms of like just the season thus far, it's probably not too dissimilar from where Spurs were last season, struggling with injuries, struggling with a manager who seemingly is not helping you progress up the table. Obviously with Ange departing from Forest, that was important for us just to get back to sort of more of our DNA, which is to play a little bit more defensively solid, be a little bit more compact in how we control space. So bringing Dyche back has been a really good thing, I think, for our club. It may not have been the sort of quote unquote sexy hire that, we maybe thought an owner like Marinakis would want, but ultimately it's brought some solidity and some stability to the club. And I think the boys are responding as well. They seem to enjoy him and obviously two Forest legends in Ian Wone and Steve Stone. So it's good to have them back on that, on the sideline there, helping coach up these guys and get them back to playing probably in a style, in a framework that they're more used to. So, been hit or miss in terms of, how points have accumulated. Clearly, Dyche is doing better in terms of getting points. We're averaging about 1.4 points a match under him, which is excellent compared to what we were doing under Ange, which was about 0.25. And obviously Nuno leaving early in the season, that just created a bit of a snowball effect. But it seems like we're finding our footing a little bit, even though the last few matches, I think we played 5 matches in 15. So there's just a lot of fatigue right now, trying to balance. I know Spurs fans, you are used to this, to balance the European experience with trying to remain competitive in the Premier League. So that's been a bit difficult. But that saying, in terms of what we're probably going to see going into this game, I think, a little bit of trepidation just because the last 3 matches we've looked a little bit frail. We've looked, as I said, we've looked a little bit tired mentally and physically. But having a little bit of time to rest players. We're playing Utrecht this evening. And so having the opportunity to maybe rest some of our starting 11 is going to be key because they need a little bit more time to kind of decompress, try to find a little bit more stamina, a little bit more, bit more pace, a little bit more engagement and acuity, because obviously that will happen when you're mentally tired. You're not going to be quite as sharp as you want to be. In terms of like who I think Forest is going to probably have playing against Spurs, it's going to be a 4-2-3-1. It's going to be a back line that consists of Savona, Milenkovic in that right center back position, who, again, another mainstay in our back line, coupled with Murillo. He's coming back. Obviously his ability is quite evident, and having a talent like him back is gonna make a big difference because I think he played on the bench against Utrecht. And then you've got Nico Williams, another mainstay, probably one of our most consistent players to date, has been for a few years now. He'll be playing at the left back position. In midfield, I think we're gonna have Douglas Luiz back, which is a definite plus. He's got that creativity, he's got that vision in terms of picking a pass. He can be able to take set pieces and so forth, and kind of bring some solidity to that element of the game too for us. Then you've got Elliot Anderson as well, playing in a typical role that he does, that sort of box-to-box midfielder role, and he's been absolutely amazing this season. He certainly has increased his value as well as his footprint, I think, within English football in general, and now he's obviously playing for England and likely going to start potentially in the World Cup, which is amazing to have a player like that. So, in terms of what we deploy in attack, we're going to have Gibbs White in the 10, player that I'm sure Spurs are very familiar with, just given the circumstances, another crazy event to add to the offseason. The wingers is where we really get a little bit challenged because, if I had the opportunity, I would love to take Brennan Johnson back. I mean, for nostalgia purposes in general, just as him as an academy player, but just his sheer pace, he's good on the ball. He's got the propensity to score goals. I mean, he did that last season. I think he had 11 or 12 goals last season, scored the goal for you guys to help win Europa, along with Van de Ven, just because of that raw pace. Like, I know I keep bringing up pace. We lost that with Alanga, unfortunately. There's some guys on our team with decent pace, but not the kind of elite pace that you see coming out of Van de Ven, as well as a player like Brennan Johnson. So, those are two players I would love to have, because we know Murillo may not be here next season as well. He might be a guy that departs in the offseason just because he's kind of coveted by teams in Europe as well as in the Premier League. So it'd be good to kind of have a player like Van de Ven kind of to deploy, just because of how good they are defensively, how good he is going forward. Good on the ball too, for defenders. So definitely a player that we would enjoy seeing, including like Mohamed Kudus. I mean, he's another play that concerns me. I think one of the guys that comes on our podcast, Raf, talks when he's locked in, when Mohamed Kudus is locked in, he's a very difficult customer to deal with, because he does have that adeptness with the ball at his feet. He can be a problem with that left foot as well. So just a number of talented players that we know exist on Tottenham that have been challenging. I think there is opportunities though for us to maybe get at Tottenham a little bit, just simply by knowing that there's going to be that propensity to press up and try to play higher up the pitch, as the Spurs do. So that may play to our strength, which is, dropping balls over that back line, trying to find spaces and, find channels, that we can potentially exploit using a player such as, Elliot Anderson, Douglas Luiz, even Sangare, potentially, if he comes off the bench. He's been really good with, coming even at a deeper position, being able to find, little crevices to exploit, to try to play through balls, to players making advancing runs and things like that. So I know Spurs have been really good on set pieces as well, in terms of scoring off set pieces. So that's something we have to be worried about, just simply because of the frailty we've seen in that area. Like late last season, that was a major issue for us, even under Nuno. It became a huge issue under Ange, clearly, and I'm sure you guys are familiar with that, just because of his record in terms of giving up goals off the set pieces. So we have to be worried about that. But I think we can exploit some things over the top, as well as trying to find those, like I said, find those little moments for a counter. I don't think that Spurs have given up a counter goal, so it's going to be difficult to do. And as I said, you've got a lot of athletic players there who can track back pretty well. But hopefully, there's something we can do in that regards. Igor Jesus has shown to be a really capable player. He hasn't quite got all the goals yet. He's had 2 disallowed. He would have 3. I think he would have 7 overall. If it hadn't been for that. So he would have had a pretty good goal scoring record across all competitions. So he's definitely a player that I think Spurs need to be cognizant of, because his hold up play is really good. He's really good in the box. He's good at heading the ball. So he's a pretty all around striker. I think it's just the goals haven't come as much as we would like in the Premier League, because some moments of those goals being disallowed. But he did just score most recently. He scored against Wolves. So he's got that first goal off under his belt. So we're thinking there's better things to come from him. But, in terms of predicted score, probably I'm going to say a draw. That's what I'm hoping for, at least, just because I know Spurs, like I said, have gotten that first win. And then obviously for us, we need to start accumulating points, keep progressing up the table, because some of the teams around us have actually had some decent performances lately, especially Leeds against Liverpool, for example. So we've got to start, accumulating points. Would I hope for a win? Clearly, I'm a Forest fan. I hope for a win. I hope for that 3 points. But I do think a draw would be a definitely valued thing. So appreciate the opportunity, guys, to share this with you. Harry, keep doing the great work that you're doing. Really appreciate you. And you Reds.
You came along just like a song, a bright of my